Welcome back to the SCIF. I am Matt. That's Stu. We are the Green Beret Life. As you notice, we've got some light in here today. You guys can actually see me instead of just seeing a dark picture and hearing a voice emerge from the darkness. Right?
I should have gotten some little anime character to put in your place.
You should have, but you didn't. That would have been funny actually. But Kathy, who's out there listening tonight, thank you very much. She provided this lamp because she basically said I looked like a tool talking in the dark in behind the wheel of my truck.
The lamp
So,
doesn't help much with that. It just kind of more reinforces
well,
it.
I didn't think it would help much, but either way, what do we have for the show tonight, Stu?
We've got a good number of stories here. We've got a couple of updates. Geez, this one was months and months ago. There was this judge out in, I believe it was New Mexico, that come to find out was harboring a Tren de Aragua gang member and had done had tampered with evidence, had destroyed a phone that had images of decapitated bodies on it, had provided this illegal gang member with firearms and ammunition, taking him out to gun ranges, and just there's a timeline here we're going to look at too that seems to allude to more than what's on the surface, but we'll get to that when we talk about the story. And another story where we've got to follow up on. You remember in the North Carolina, when the hurricane went up through North Carolina and did all that damage there, and in Florida as well. The story came out about FEMA skipping over houses that had Trump or Republican
That was
paraphernalia.
that was in Lake Placid, Florida, where that was highlighted. I'm sure it was happening
Yeah.
everywhere, but yes,
Well,
I remember that story well.
come to find out, in addition to profiling and basically refusing to provide services or refusing the people the opportunity to receive services, FEMA was also gathering information on people's party affiliations. And we're sure that wouldn't be used for anything, showing their prior activity and everything here. That's just, it's another disgusting thing from the Biden-Harris administration.
Yeah, I mean, these people are so concerned about democracy when we're not even in a
Democracy.
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 This is what democracy looks like. Did you see during the stupid No Kings rally? That was a flop, by the way. Did you see Adam Schiff and Cory Booker doing that shit? They're got their arms around each other. One would go, "This is what democracy looks like," and the other one would go, "This is what." You were embarrassed for these two assholes.
The cringe was secondhand
Oh, it was
cringe.
so bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. But whatever. What do you
Well,
expect?
we've got some fallout from the No Kings protest. I've got a story, and you've got one as well. We'll talk about with the epitome of FAFO for some of these people. And the thing is, when people talk about freedom of speech and all that, now I get it. You have that, but that doesn't mean that your employer has to stand behind you and support what it is that you're saying. They have every right to separate you and what you're spouting from their the business, the corporation, whatever it is, wherever you're employed. You have the right to say whatever it is you want, but they also have the right to separate themselves from you and what you're saying. And people are finding out about that. Of course, they want to scream that they're being canceled, but that's two entirely different things.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Oh, this was a few months ago. The DOGE staffer that was basically beaten in the
AKA
streets of
Big Balls.
DC.
Big
Yeah,
Balls. What's
beaten
his
in the
real
streets
name?
of
Yeah.
what's that?
We'll talk about it later. His real name.
Oh yeah,
Like I
but
think it's Kornstein or something like that.
I think so.
Yeah.
But this guy was beaten in the streets of DC by these people. Let me see. I was seeing if it had their ages here. It doesn't, that I can find
Well,
off the.
two of them were, I believe, 19 years old. I listened to the
Okay.
press conference that Janine Pirro put out, and I know
Yep.
that these
18
people
and
were all,
19.
yeah,
Yep.
they were released over and over and over and over and over again
Yeah.
this year, and
Yeah.
yeah, this is a complete disgrace. So,
And this incident here was what really led Trump to bring the guard in, and has basically DC has changed basically overnight.
mhm.
Crime has dropped through the floor with just the preventive measure of having people there that will do something, or even just being that visual deterrent.
Mhm.
Because we've seen from the DAs and everything else in DC, they're not going to do anything. Their deal is let them go. They don't want to deal with it because they don't want the publicity to come back on them, because it might affect their next election.
Mhm.
Um,
Hey, did you see the story that there was a deer stand set up within view of where Trump would depart the plane, I believe down in Florida, right? And
no, I didn't hear that.
oh yeah, there was a deer stand set up. And everybody's like, well, what the hell? My question is, don't they fly a freaking drone, a thermal imaging drone around these airports before Trump gets there? How could this happen without now I don't know the full story of this, but I'm sure some of our viewers do. But don't you think this should have been identified way earlier than when it was? You know,
Yeah,
I'm really worried. I mean, these nut jobs. We were talking earlier. This isn't one of the stories we were going to talk about, but we were talking earlier. You have these assholes like Robert De Niro going
yeah,
on like CNN, MSNBC, basically starting all of the rhetoric, trying to spin everybody up over Stephen Miller, calling him a Nazi. Stephen Miller's Jewish, by the way, calling him a Nazi, the whole nine yards. And then, during this whole No Kings rally, you had people with signs up basically saying, we're here to kill Nazis, right? We're going to kill Nazis, right? Or I'm paraphrasing, but to that effect, right? And you see no pushback from the mainstream media on any of this. So they just
and
let him get on there and say that without a damn thing. And it's like,
it's funny, Matt. You know how anytime anyone says something that is a Republican that may be in poor taste,
mhm.
everyone in the media is all shoving microphones in the face of every senator, congressperson, and member of the administration, saying, "Will you denounce what they said? Are you standing
Oh,
by what they're saying?" But you've got these people going around going, "We need to kill Nazis," and then this guy saying, "Hey, look, there's a Nazi, there's a Nazi," and there's
exactly.
crickets.
That's exactly, and they're all in on it, and the news doesn't push back. These outlets, like, well, there's some talk today because Warner Brothers Discovery, which owns CNN, is putting itself up for sale. So I'm not quite sure how this affects CNN, but I believe that CNN is a lead weight around, and it makes you
Oh
fun.
man,
What's odd, we've already mentioned this, that USAID is gone, and now these things are all starting to collapse. The Jimmy
they
Kimmels,
are.
all of these, right? Who have been had shitty ratings for years. MSNBC, CNN, just garbage ratings for years. They're paying people like Rachel Maddow 20 million bucks a year allegedly, right? With no ratings, right?
Yeah, where's
So
that coming from? Where's that money
ex,
coming from?
well, now you're starting to see them buckle and starting to crumble under all of this. And
Yeah.
but that's a sort of a side point here, but you see, this is how you know that this to me, I think this is a coordinated effort. Just like you said, we're going to kill Nazis. There's a Nazi. There's a Nazi. There's a Nazi. Knowing they've got so many of these deranged people. Just today in Los Angeles, there was another incident with an illegal immigrant and gunplay. Right? you
Yep.
know another incident where both, I believe, an ICE agent and the illegal immigrant were shot. Right?
Well, what wasn't there one in the No Kings protest? This professor that was talking about everybody needs to go get guns. They
Go
need to attack
kill.
ICE agents on
Yep.
site. And
I was gonna hold that one until we were talking about the
I'm
teacher deal,
sorry.
but
Yep.
because this guy's a professor, or he's associated with some university in Illinois, because that happened in Chicago. But he's telling that guy, I don't know if he should be under arrest right now. He should be in custody right now for what he was saying. So,
Yeah.
you know, anyways, we've digressed enough here. What story do you want to start with, Stu?
Well, since we were already talking about it, we'll keep going with the No Kings. If you wanted to expand on
Sure.
the professor thing a little bit more, then I'll bring up the story I have.
I don't know if he's a professor, but there was an individual. You've all probably seen it. The video has been all over the place. This guy was one of the speakers at this No Kings nonsense, which was a complete flop, by the way. I think they were saying they were taking the information from the organizers and said they had 7 million people across the country, and then when you actually whittle the data down, right, it's roughly 1 million people, right, that showed up across the country at like thousands of different cities, right? It's a flop, right? So in Chicago, one of their speakers was associated with some sort of university. I don't know. There's not tons of information out on him just yet. But he's up there blatantly saying, and it doesn't go more beyond what Stu and I have already said, is basically we need to take up arms and start shooting ICE agents. Pretty much, maybe not those exact words, but pretty close to those exact words. And Stu's going to talk about another teacher, uh, a female teacher who was jumping around bragging about shooting Charlie Kirk in the neck, right? And this is just more showing that how unhinged this side is. And if you take it back to what we were just talking about a few moments ago, I don't think it's a mistake. They know what they're dealing with out there. These skulls full of mush, as Rush Limbaugh used to say, right? And
Oh yeah.
yeah, you have them they don't even understand what the hell they're even talking about. They don't understand the subject at whole, but they do know all the platitudes, all of the negative connotations that they're putting upon people on the other side, right? And this is also evidenced in the SNAP EBT benefits we were talking about earlier, where people seem to think that this is Trump shutting off the SNAP EBT benefits, right? They don't understand. They don't understand how the government works. They don't understand how the country works. And this you could take back to the education system that has let down every student in this freaking country, the public
Well, by
education
design.
system. Yes, by design. And it's designed to indoctrinate and program them all the way through higher education, right?
And speaking of the indoctrination, this individual here, by reports, teaches um like in elementary and middle school.
Yeah.
And there was a No Kings protest. In the video I saw, there were a couple of guys. They had an old 80, like an 88, 89 Ford pickup truck. And they had a big, Charlie Kirk flag in the same style of the Donald Trump flags,
Mm-hmm.
the blue body of the flag, the white letters and all. And this lady, apparently this triggered her in a special way, no pun intended.
Well,
Um,
Stu,
Lucy
tell me if
Martinez,
Stu, before you even get into it, did you hear
sure,
this woman used to be an actress and kind of famous?
no,
Apparently, she played in one of the Star Wars movies, Jabba the Hutt. You
I
didn't
would
hear
believe
that?
that. I would
Allegedly.
believe that.
Allegedly. Okay, but go ahead. Sorry.
You know what? Allegedly, it's plausible but believable, I would say.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but yeah, she was demonstrating at this protest, and apparently this really just hit her a certain kind of way with somebody out there showing support for Charlie Kirk. So this is what she does. Just celebrating as if it's a joke that a man was murdered in front of his family, because
Yeah.
she doesn't
Yeah.
even. And I can guarantee you, if you ask her what belief of Charlie Kirk's did you disagree with,
He was a
she could not give
Nazi.
you a
He was a
yes.
Nazi. That's what you're going to get. Yeah.
Exactly. You would not get any answer with any bit of
Substance.
specificity. It would be, he's a
Yeah.
Nazi. He hates immigrants. He hates
Hmm.
brown people. That's all it would be. Because she has no idea who Charlie Kirk is, what he believed, what Turning Point USA is, what they do, what they've done. All
Hmm.
she knows is, just like you said, Matt, the skull full of mush who's been told you should hate this. They're a Nazi. They're a bad person. Because who's going to defend Nazis? Nobody likes Nazis. So
Exactly.
that's what they do. They paint you as the bad guy, whether you are or not, and then they turn loose the low IQ, you know, rabid hunts
Teacher.
at you, and there you
Teacher.
go.
Yeah. The low
Yeah,
IQ
and
teacher.
she's
I
a
finished
teacher.
that for you. Yep.
But the thing is, the school that she works at has completely. They didn't just lock their X account; they deleted it. Um, the voicemail at the school's full, asking callers to try again later. So the school's been getting the business from all
Hmm.
this,
Hmm.
and like we said, like I said before, free speech is one thing. You're absolutely entitled to say whatever it is that you want to say, but your employer, your place of employment, your business, they're not obligated to stand by you and support you in what you're saying. If you're
Hmm.
bringing, the bad, I can't think of the right word. If you're bringing, you know, flack onto them based on your beliefs and your personal stuff, they're under no obligation to support you in that. That's your beliefs. You deal with it on your own,
Hmm.
and hopefully that's what will happen.
Well, it's
Um,
funny. I saw at another one of these protests, there was a crowd that had an effigy of Donald Trump hanging from a noose, right? And
uh,
there was a kid
well, a
that was
noose, that's
being in,
racist.
yeah. Well, there was a kid that was was in a mask between the ages of 8 and 11, somewhere around that age, maybe 12, who's got a knife and he's stabbing this effigy as the crowd cheers, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that reminds me of the video that was going around on social media when Charlie Kirk got shot. This woman going to her two little girls. One of them's maybe 7, the other one
I
probably
remember this.
5.
I remember this.
And
Yeah.
she's like, guess who got shot today? President Trump?
Yep.
No, guess again. And guess somebody else? No, guess again. And I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with people that you're talk about indoctrination?
Those kids
I
need to be
mean,
removed from that environment. Period. Amen.
that is lunacy.
Hmm.
But Troy says it's the not the No Kings protest, it's the No Clue protest, and they are in search
Exactly.
of a clue. Troy.
Exactly.
Um,
Ask Troy how he's enjoying this weather. This weather sucks. Yeah.
Freedom says the Secret Service discovered the deer stand. Now the FBI is taking over the investigation
Oh, great.
using
Yeah.
forensic and digital tools to identify who set up the stand. And yeah, Freedom was saying, yeah, that elementary school had to shut down its social media and its website after the teacher was out there doing her thing.
Well, Is she fired? Is the question. Of course
Yeah.
not. Yeah, there's no way. She needs to be arrested, as far as far as I'm concerned. She is maybe not arrested. I mean, you're unable to do, but you shouldn't be teaching kids, if this is your mentality, that it's okay to go and murder somebody and celebrate it, an innocent
I
person.
mean,
You know what I
and
mean? She shouldn't have a job.
I guess that's the thing that just it's it's amazing how far society has fallen
Hmm.
in a decade in what is acceptable of she sees nothing wrong with celebrating a man's murder in front of his family in the middle of the street.
What do you think
She
she's
sees her.
telling? What do you think she's telling her class?
Yeah, exactly. Or her own children if she has
Hmm.
them.
No, no,
But you know,
I can, I don't know, but I can say with 99.999% certainty, she has no children. Okay.
but you know, it's that's the thing, man. It's amazing how in just 10 years how far apart things are. And it's like I don't know that there's a way to close that divide.
Well, I
It,
don't
it
think,
just
I don't think you're not going to reach these people. And these people are actually such a small percentage of our population. And what they've done is people who thought that they were moderates or in the middle want nothing to do with that side. They want nothing to do with that side. And you're starting to see it play out. We're going to know after November. You're starting to see this play out in both Virginia and New Jersey, two predominantly blue states where their Democratic candidates are in real trouble in both of these states.
well, and that's what
So,
I was about to say, Matt. It's going to depend if they're willing to step up and you
mhm.
know vote with the ballot. But since you bring that up, that's the story here, and this is one you're big on with the knowledge. So run with it.
DNC drops 500K more on New Jersey. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because in New Jersey, in the gubernatorial race, it's pretty much a clean sweep in New Jersey right now. But they're behind. They are behind when you look at the numbers right now. The Democrats are in total panic. I didn't even know you were bringing this up, Stu. We didn't
Yeah,
even
I
talk
found it
about
for you.
this.
You're welcome.
You just threw it at me. So I'm gonna include Virginia in this too. We have
Oh, it is New Jersey, Virginia, and Pennsylvania.
Yeah, okay. So New Jersey and Virginia are the ones that, and what's going on in Pennsylvania is interesting too with John Fetterman. Okay, but New Jersey, they're actually behind if you're looking at the polls right now, and they should be way ahead. They should be way ahead. You look at Virginia, and it's within pretty much the margin of error. We got Winsome Sears, who I'm not the hugest fan of, but she needs to win in Virginia running for governor. And in the Secretary of State's race, this is what's blown this whole thing open. Abigail Spanberger's running for governor in Virginia. Abigail Spanberger was an employee of the CIA, right? And became a congresswoman just a few years ago, which she should have never been she's a disaster, right? And she's running for governor. So you have the Secretary of State race, and the Democrat candidate had a bunch of text leak because he accidentally texted someone he wasn't supposed to be texting from the Republican Party. And when they said, "Whoa," basically cheering for the death of his Republican rival, or a Republican that he didn't agree with, his family and his kids,
And
basically. And
again, the funny thing is, we talked about this last week, Matt.
yeah,
A Democrat can do that and only lose 3 points in the poll. They can
but
call
he's
for the death of their opponent's children and lose 3 points.
but those polls are garbage. But even them
Yeah.
being garbage, knowing that they're heavily weighted blue, right? You're seeing this get closer and closer. And Abigail Spanberger that was in a debate with Winsome Sears. And she refused to denounce, and Winsome Sears just had her way with her because she looked like a complete and utter fool up there. She refuses to denounce this individual who was saying all of these horrible things, right?
Really
Oh yeah,
good.
refused review, and now the Democrat Party is gathering around. They know they can't ask him to get down, to step down because it's game over, and the Democrats are in big trouble in these two traditionally blue states. Pennsylvania, I'm not quite sure of what this article is talking about concerning Pennsylvania, but I will say with John Fetterman. John Fetterman has not towed the narrative from the Democrat Party. He's not done it.
Yeah,
And he's actually gone after the Democrat Party for this stunt of a shutdown, because that's what this was. It was supposed to be in conjunction with this No Kings rally, right? Allegedly. And it was supposed to turn Trump's base against him. And everybody sees it for what it is. The Democrats are floundering in so many ways. And Fetterman had come out and basically said, this is a nonsense shutdown and it's hurting the country, right? Which is not
yeah.
the narrative that Democrats will allow. They will not allow it. And then he comes out and says, we got to stop this rhetoric coming from the left, calling everybody that you disagree with a Nazi and a traitor and evil and this and that and the other thing. It's nonsense. Well, he just committed the cardinal sin by going against the Democrat Party and their narrative again, right? So they are seriously trying to figure out a way of booting him from the party. And if he stays in the Democrat Party, they're going to primary him, right?
Oh yeah, they're
They're
gonna
going to
have to.
primary, right? He needs to jump over and become a Republican. That's the long and short of what he needs to do. And a lot of what's come out from him, if you look at him, his background, his whole family are all conservatives. He's from Western Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty hardcore conservative, right? Um, and he has stood up. I mean, I know we were like, what in the hell when this guy got elected? But he is the voice of reason and pretty much the only voice of reason from within the current Democrat Party.
And
And
if
he's the
if
only
you
one who
had
has the
told me
courage to
that
stand up against them.
if you had told me that when he got elected that John Fetterman was going to be the voice of reason, I would have fallen out of my chair.
I agree with
But
you. I
you
agree with you.
know,
But he is. He has been the voice of reason. And he has shown real courage. So while I don't know if we agree with him on everything he does, he needs to become a Republican. And that would send shockwaves because Pennsylvania, I still think Pennsylvania is more conservative. They're really relying on Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. That's that's all the Democrats have there. The rest of the state is Republican, right?
yeah,
Or should I say pro-American? Okay, America first, right?
yeah.
So
Freedom says he's better than the rhinos.
well, absolutely, is he better than the rhinos? For sure, freedom, 100%. So that is my take. We're going to see what happens, no matter what happens in Virginia, or New Jersey for that matter. This race has been way closer than it ever should have been, and I think it's starting to highlight the shift we were just talking about, the moderate middle in this country and the general feeling of the country as a whole. And uh, I think that this does not bode well for the Democrats going into the midterms, and we need to win the midterms, because if we don't win the midterms and we don't motivate the base to get out, and we don't motivate pro-American people to get out there, pro-America first people to get out, everything that's being done here is going to be reversed.
Yeah,
You know what they're going to do. They're going to use the levers. They're telling you they're going to do this. We talked about this last show too, where you had Jamie Pritzker saying that he's going to use lawfare to go after people for doing their job
yeah.
within
The ICE agents.
ICE. Yeah. So I mean, they've already done this. We've already seen it. I mean, we spent 3 years watching this all go down. 4 years, really.
Yeah,
So it's a must win, and I think we just need to keep on doing what we're doing and moving forward, because every roadblock that's being put up, it seems like we have an answer for at this stage. So we cannot rest on our laurels, because we got to bring this home to fix this country. We have to win the midterms, and we have to win 2028. Period. Amen.
Well, going off of that, and we've got about 3 stories we've actually got follow-ups on here, and one of them was one we were talking about in the opening, is the DOGE employee that was, had the crap beat out of him
Mm-hmm.
by 2 individuals in DC that really
Oh, no,
was
it wasn't.
the
No, it wasn't just 2. There's only 2 that were adults. Okay.
oh,
It
okay.
was a group of kids, and they had committed another crime where they beat the hell out of somebody up the street just prior
Yeah,
to this.
yeah,
Okay, so what he was trying to do, he was with a girl. He put her in the car. She locked the door. Then they started beating the shit out of him. And the other individual, they robbed his shoes after they beat him up and everything else off of him. But
yeah.
they stole his shoes. But go ahead. I didn't mean to step on
No,
over
you're
you.
fine, but yeah, you're right. There's a lot going on here.
Hmm.
Um, so Matt was saying there was the press conference, and during the press conference Monday, the U.S. Attorney detailed that Lawrence Cotton Powell, 19, and Anthony Taylor, 18, were facing 2 counts of first-degree robbery and assault with intent to commit robbery, each punishable by 15 years in prison, and attempted carjacking with a penalty of up to 5 years in prison. What's significant about this case is the history of Powell, expressed Piro after Judge Briggs allowed the suspects to walk away with probation while insisting her goal was to rehabilitate, not punish. Now, right here, the U.S. Attorney's Office had requested incarceration for the suspect regarding a prior assault after a felony, only for a judge to suspend the sentence days before this attack. After a felony attempted robbery conviction, after a violation of probation, and after a second crime, and after a second conviction, after no compliance with court services and offender supervision, the judges say, do better, and they let him go. And guess what? Within 10 days, he's at it again.
Hmm.
This is an abject failure of the judicial system and the DAs and the judges in DC. Abject failure. No,
Well,
rehabilitate, not
it's
punish. Where's the
it's
rehabilitation? 10 days later, he's doing it again.
and he's done it before. It's not a failure. It's intentional. It's intentional, and it's part of this whole destroying everything through their activist judges. I mean, look at all the nonsense that's been thrown in front of Trump over trying to get illegals out of our country. Look, I
Yeah.
mean, look at all of it. I mean, we're winning
People
all
who
of this
should
stuff,
not
but
be here, who
Mhm.
are not legally here, they are spending more money and effort fighting to keep people who entered our country illegally here than they are to fix the things they're elected to go to office to fix for the tax-paying citizens of the United States.
Mhm.
And we've beaten this horse into the ground, but name for me one other country on the face of the planet that I can enter illegally and expect zero repercussions and expect to be just given a place because I managed to evade the law for long enough for whatever reason that, oh well, you've evaded the law for 5 years, so we're just going to let you enjoy it. You won.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
give me a break.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But
Okay.
we've got that. So that's good here. These people are now looks like facing federal charges with this. So hopefully they're taking this other piss poor judge out of the loop completely
But
and
nothing
handling
is
it at federal
happening to the
level.
juveniles, the youths.
Yeah.
Nothing is happening to them. And this was a mob of kids. These just happened to be the 2 oldest that were past the age of 18.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is Washington D.C. and it's not any different than Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Boston. It's not any different than any of these left run shitholes.
Yeah. Now, the other one, this is a story from the Wayback Machine here. Now, I want to say this was in New Mexico. That's what's sticking in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes, I
there
think you're
was
correct.
there was a Trinidad gang member who was living with a judge, the judge's wife, and the judge's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And there were pictures of him with the judge at a shooting range with guns and ammo and all of this. The judge allegedly just took this guy's phone and destroyed it and then disposed of it because it had pictures of decapitated bodies and stuff. Well, basically it had evidence of this guy's gang activity and the brutality of what this guy actually did. But even knowing that, this judge still has him in his home around his wife and his daughter and is supplying him with weapons. So what's happened here, the gang member was arrested and has pled guilty to evidence tampering and illegally possessing a firearm. The judge Cano has quit his post as the judge, and he and his wife were indicted with evidence tampering. And but yeah, this guy thought it would be a bright idea to post photos of himself on Facebook with all of the weapons and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the timeline, Matt. This is what's funny. All right. Border agents caught him after he jumped the border at Eagle Pass, Texas, December 15th, 2023. Then released him 3 days later because of overcrowding at the detention facility. A year later, almost to the day, he's uploaded a collection of photographs and videos at a rifle range in La Cruces, New Mexico, in possession of firearms and ammunition and everything else. Ortega and the legal aliens he resided with, and talking about the tattoos, the apparel, and everything with TDA. And these are the people that this other guy had on his, in his house. On December 2024, Lopez posted pictures and videos of himself at the residence of Cano, a gun enthusiast holding a rifle with tactical equipment while wearing a ballistic helmet. It's like, or April Cano, who's the daughter, I guess. But it's just like, this is, and these are some of the images here. And I guess this douche in the middle is the judge that's trying to be, be a badass. But this is what's going on. Where was the deal with the phone right here? I'm trying to find it. Yeah, after smashing the phone with a hammer, Cano walked the pieces to a city dumpster to dispose of them to protect him.
Did you say a shitty city dumpster?
I did.
Okay.
And it probably was a shitty city. The phone contained pictures of 2 decapitated murder victims. So this guy knew what he had. He knew what was on the phone. He knew who this guy was and did all of this anyway. And like you said, like I believe you brought it up when we're talking about the story way back when, is, how far back does this, entanglement go with this judge and with this gang and these gang members?
Yeah.
It's a lot. There's a lot going on here. It really is.
There's got to be more to this story than, why would they bring this guy into their, why would they do all of this? None of this, even if they're stupid, misguided, radical leftists, why would they do this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just destroyed their whole life over this.
And
Does
like
somebody
I said,
have something on them? You know what I mean?
And he's taking a phone and this that has pictures of decapitated murder victims. Yeah. He knows it has this evidence on it.
And he's got this guy around his wife and his daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, I, the judicial system in this country is so broken, and this is why I get so angry with the Republicans, because these federal judges can be dealt with if we had a decent group of Republicans that were in the Senate, but we don't. We've got rhinos. We've got way too many rhinos in the Senate. Not all, but most, and they will not lift a finger to deal with any of these judges, and they've got the power to do it. They
Let's see.
won't.
What do you have to recall a federal judge?
Well, they can impeach them. They can impeach these judges. So when you have, story after story of judges coming up with nonsense that goes against the Constitution blatantly, trying to lay down roadblocks with the Trump administration for removing illegals out of this country, you know,
All
those
right.
things.
So to impeach a judge must be charged by the House with treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors, which requires a simple majority vote in the House. Following the House's impeachment, the Senate conducts a trial and must convict with a 2/3 vote. So, same rules of impeachment as it would be for a president. And there's no way we're getting a 2/3 vote in
No,
the Senate.
no,
I mean,
no.
it's just not. These judges are doing exactly what the Democrats want them to do.
Correct. So yeah, this is a complete disaster. It's a travesty of our Constitution. It's a travesty. It's making a mockery out of the whole judicial system. And this is exactly what the left has done. And the funny thing is, a lot of these were approved by, the mealy mouth Republicans like Lindsey Graham, who brags about, approving Democrat nominees,
Yeah,
Biden's nominees, right?
well, it's got to be bipartisan, Matt.
Yeah. When the other side is intentionally trying to destroy the country, let's be bipartisan. Let's
Exactly.
follow let's follow the rules of
Yeah.
decorum that aren't rules of our Constitution,
Well, hey,
but just
this
rules of
arsonist is
decorum.
trying to burn our house down. Well, hold on, hear him out. We
Yeah.
need to hear him out.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, it's like what
Exactly.
the hell.
Do we have any comments we need to get to that we haven't addressed?
No, I've been. Freedom had talking about the previous story with the teacher. He
Mhm.
said the Chicago public school system has not confirmed her firing. They are quote unquote following their procedures for handling allegations of misconduct.
Which means that she's going to be suspended with pay and told to go on vacation somewhere until this all blows over, and then she'll resume her indoctrination back in her classroom later on at a later date.
Well, I replied to Freedom. I said, that sounds a whole lot like we investigated ourselves and found we did nothing wrong.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
But continuing with the stories that we're following up on, and we had started talking about this before with uh, the FEMA, and they're skipping over houses and citizens and individuals who had been impacted by disasters because they had uh, Republican or Trump or even just political slogans they didn't agree with in their yard. They were basically, by their actions, depriving them of their due federal assistance in a disaster area. And come to find out, they weren't just doing that; they were also gathering, political affiliation information on these people as well. And
It's funny that you bring this up, because I remember when I got out of fifth group, I know that a bunch of people applied to go work in federal positions, and almost nobody got any of them. And do you know where they were getting a lot of the people? In the this is during the Obama administration, in the polygraph. And if you know as well as I do that it's up to the interpretation of the polygrapher, and you can
absolutely,
make that. Um, so when you see, I would have imagined they were coming from a combat arms unit, so they've already been identified as a possible conservative. I guarantee you they were looking at voter data. I guarantee you that they were looking at affiliations and all of this, right? And I think that this is just my assumption. Okay, don't have any proof of any of this or any of it, but I'm talking about, you know, a kid applying to West Point and maybe not getting in, or the Naval Academy or the Air Force Academy, and say their parents were big Republican donors. This is under, you know, these administrations that are radical left, like the Obama, the Biden, and maybe before. But I have an assumption that this isn't just a FEMA issue. I think this has been going on for getting hired for public service at any of these agencies, for getting into these elite military academies, for any of it. If you came from a family and you screamed hardcore conservative, they didn't want you. This is how they, in my opinion, this is opinion, allegedly, right? Uh, build the administrative deep state, right? This gets back to your brilliant quote about tigers doing tiger shit, right?
Yep.
You hire the right people that you've already picked, right?
They've already
And
been vetted.
yes, you feed them the additional propaganda. You give them the reward for thinking the right way, right? And you don't have to do a damn thing. You get the lowest learners of the world that go and do lion shit, like you explained so brilliantly
That
before. And I think this is
was
just,
a good one. I'm proud of that
yeah,
one.
this is another way of rewarding those that vote the right way and punishing those that don't vote the right way. So I ask you, who are the real fascists that are pointing the finger at everybody else? Who
It's
is it?
it's it's amazing, isn't it? Isn't it the
Yeah.
Democrats that are the ones that watch what they're accusing others of, because
Hmm.
it's all deflection with them. If you dig deep
Exactly.
enough, they're responsible for what they're accusing others of.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
that's exactly what we have here. It says FEMA always preaches avoidance first and then de-escalation. This is a colossal event of avoidance, not just in the state of Florida. You find avoidance in the Carolinas. FEMA did pause aid in North Carolina, citing concerns over an armed militia threatening workers in the area, which was nonsense. There was nothing there. Um, Says now the scandal gets even worse, as it turns out FEMA workers were collecting data on the politics of disaster victims.
You know,
And I
you know,
thought I'd
you know
highlighted some
something
other stuff
else,
here, but
Stu. You know something else? Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny that this year we're at the end of October and there hasn't been any hurricanes hitting Florida or the southeast conservative states? Isn't
well,
that odd?
it's funny. My wife and I were talking about that, and she was like, "When's hurricane season over with?" I said, "I'm pretty sure end of October." And I said,
Yeah,
"Now watch next year. If there are like two hurricanes, they're going to be like hurricanes are up 200% under Donald Trump from last year, and just
yeah.
all sorts of nonsense and
But
bullshit."
I find it really odd. I think you know what I'm getting. We did a show on this, right?
Mm,
Yeah, I just find it really odd that all of these hurricanes, we had Cat 5 hurricanes forming in the Gulf in October that had never happened before, down by Mexico. And instead of taking a traditional path of a hurricane that would have formed down in that area by going up, and hitting a different part of the country, this thing hopscotched across the Gulf and and went where it did. And the button hook hurricane of a few years ago that
yeah,
came into the Gulf, and instead of going up the traditional route, button hooked and hit Southwest Florida. It's
yep,
just really weird. And and the thing that hit North Carolina, and it hit Georgia, North Carolina, and caused all of those dams that have been there for 100 years and have withstood storm after storm after storm, right? Not to get into another subject that we've already talked about, but the mineral deposits and black rock and those people that did not have flood insurance and everything
yeah.
else.
I
What
live
an
in the
easy,
mountains of North Carolina. Why
yeah,
would I have flood
yeah.
insurance?
What an easy way, if there were valuable mineral deposits for some of these organizations to get their hands on that, destroy somebody's home, and they have no way to rebuild, right? It- it- I think we've been played a long time. I know you guys think some of you might think I have a tinfoil hat on, but you know, my eyes have been opened over the last several years, and I am dubious about everything,
You you
everything that happened.
you can't help
So,
but be. I mean, and there's different levels of skepticism, but you can't help but be skeptical
hmm
of everything.
hmm
Um, freedom freedom says, I think the government has been putting Americans on lists for quite a while.
oh yeah,
And Troy says climate change forgot to make hurricanes this year.
yeah. And for that's a T-shirt, Troy. That is a T-shirt right
Troy,
there.
yeah,
You go
Troy says the tinfoil hat
2025.
keeps your head warm.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Freedom says, "Oh, you conspiracy theorists! It's all HARP. HARP is the one
Yeah.
responsible."
It's
But
funny. The
we've
Chinese
got
brag about it. We know the technology is out there. You can find documentaries that have probably been taken down now, going back 15, 20 years about them saying, hey, we've got the technology now. We can do this, right?
yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting.
But we've got three more here. These are three that you sent me, Matt. The first one is Texas identifies over 2,000, which I think is 2,746 people,
Correct.
non-citizens, who are registered to vote.
hmm
And
That,
what happened is, for the first time, Trump has given states access to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services database.
hmm
This hasn't been allowed before. So this allows states now to scrub their voter rolls against this Citizenship and Immigration Services database and see who shouldn't be on these rolls. Why would we not do that before, Matt? What
I
possible
wonder.
reason could we
I wonder
possibly have?
why. I wonder why, and why are we not getting data out of the states like Minnesota, California, New York, Massachusetts?
Yeah,
Why are we not getting that data? And what's funny
because
is,
they're not interested in finding out.
no, they're interested in giving illegals, like just happened in Minnesota, driver's licenses. So, wow, I wonder what they can do with that driver's license now. Their ID, right? Their
Yep.
official ID in a country they're not allowed to be in, right? Yeah, this goes this goes back to the point of intentional destruction, and it is so obvious to everybody. These governors of these states are they are criminals. I mean, how else could you say allegedly, right? To protect
Yep.
ourselves legally, allegedly. But how could you do this? How could you give non-citizens driver's licenses? How can you tell your law enforcement agencies to stand down when American federal agents are in trouble? Right? How
Yeah,
can you? That is, in my opinion, a criminal act, and I think most
it is.
Americans' opinions that's a criminal act, right?
Well,
I mean,
it would be, Matt, if the Supreme Court hadn't come out and said that the police have no duty to protect you.
yeah. Well,
But
how
in the
about this?
liberal,
How about states like California and Washington State giving CDL driver's licenses for illegals who do not have the training or produce even the
yep,
talent or the language skills to drive a 65,000-pound missile down the road, killing people across the country? Right?
I'm just
Is
gonna pull a
that not a
U-turn on the
criminal act?
turnpike. No big deal. Nothing to see
Yeah.
here.
Is that not a criminal act? It
Yeah.
is intentional destruction. They do not give
Well,
a shit.
I
Leaving
did see a
reservoirs
story.
dry in California.
I did see a story where I think it was Florida was suing California over that, because
hmm
California, I think, was one that issued that CDL to the one
hmm
that killed that van full of people on the Florida Turnpike.
That didn't happen in Florida. That happened, I think, in Oklahoma.
I thought it was Florida.
No, there
Oh,
could have been another one in Florida, but I don't think that happened in
I
Florida.
I could have sworn it was. I may have gotten it mixed up with something else,
Yeah,
but at any rate,
yeah.
I saw where there was being a lawsuit filed against,
Well, they're
over
putting
it.
everybody in the country in danger. They're putting everybody
Yeah,
who travels the highways and byways in danger. So driving a semi is not an easy thing to do, and you need to be responsible, and you need to be able to speak English, you be able to read road signs, for crying out loud. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, this is a disaster.
The other one you sent me here, and this we were laughing at this one. You guys remember in one of the demonstrations in front of one of the ICE facilities where this New Jersey Democrat decides to start doing the pillow hand swats at some of these ICE agents. They're now asking the court to drop her assault charges against ICE, federal officers. So she's basically of the
LaMonica,
mindset.
let's say her name, LaMonica, the representative
Yeah,
from. Is she from
LaMonica McIver.
Is she from Maryland? Where's she from?
No, she's Jersey.
Jersey. Okay, Jersey. LaMonica McIver. That's right. It's happened in Jersey. Okay. Yeah, they're asking for the charges to be dropped because they know they're screwed. She's on video punching federal
Yep.
agents.
Three counts of assaulting or impeding federal agents. She's arguing the case against her should be thrown out on grounds of selective and vindictive prosecution by President Trump and his administration.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Well, one, I'll throw this out there. What the fuck was January 6th and everything that happened to those people?
Exactly.
Not the ones that were on the side of the Capitol that were actually causing trouble, the ones that came up hours after the fact when things had been cleared, no signs up.
As we all suspect, January 6th, they needed that to cover up.
Oh, well, that's why it's come out now. There were dozens and dozens of federal agents in the crowd. It's come out now.
Did you know? Okay, you remember when you saw Nancy Pelosi being recorded by her daughter?
Yeah.
Do you know who the cameraman was holding the camera? The dude who used the hammer on Nancy Pelosi's husband he used the hammer, right, at his home, that DePape, the illegal Canadian gay rights activist and all or whatever else he is, right? Isn't that odd? And isn't it funny?
Wait. The guy that attacked Pelosi's husband was the one running the camera
for Pelosi's
on her at January 6th?
On January 6th. That's what I heard, allegedly, right?
No, I have not seen that anywhere. If true, holy shit.
Yes. So see if anybody else out there has heard that, because I heard that.
I'm sure Freedom will pop in if he's heard it. He's normally got his finger on the pulse of a lot of this nonsense that's going on around as well.
DePape, I think, is his name.
The thing is, McIver's lawyers have also filed to have the case thrown out on grounds of legislative immunity, that members of Congress should have broad legal protections as they carry out oversight duties. So they're proclaiming that as part of her oversight duties of an ICE facility is she should be free to assault the agents on camera.
There's no way this should work.
If this is how ridiculous this is. It is beyond lunacy. They're grasping. These are the straws that they're grasping right now. That I should be free to assault people as part of my oversight duties, and there be zero repercussions.
Folks, the Democrats are floundering in every possible way. This shutdown has been a disaster. They thought that they were going to use this shutdown. They don't. If you don't know by now, people who support Democrats, they don't give a shit about you. They do not give a shit about you. They've got an agenda. They will use you to push their agenda. That is it. And their agenda doesn't benefit anybody but them and their masters. Period. Amen.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So yeah, this whole thing has just flopped so hard in so many ways. They're talking about running AOC, which is a worldwide joke. Okay, she's a freaking moron, and they're talking about running her for president. At least, At
I
least
will.
as a senatorial candidate for Chuck Schumer's seat.
Well, I mean, all she's got to do is be in the Senate for about 6 months, and she'll have as much time there as Obama did.
Yeah, there you go. There
She's
you
got
go.
more federal experience than Obama has when he ran for president. I mean,
Exactly. And do we really know who
Troy,
Barack Obama is?
Troy
Right?
says Troy says these were mostly peaceful assaults.
Yes, mostly peaceful. That's right. Did we get anybody
And
talking about the cameraman?
yeah, I'll say Freedom and Troy both. Neither one of them had heard that, so I, that's the first
Well,
I've heard of that. That's
we need to
definitely
put we need, as internet sleuths, we need to dig into this, because I know I heard this, and you know, I think this is the case. I think this, I've heard it in more than one place.
that would be majorly interesting.
But would it surprise you? Would it surprise you? Is there anything you can
Yeah,
find out about it online right now?
I'm looking real quick.
I think his name
Cameraman
is DePape. DePape.
during J6 with
Nancy Pelosi's daughter.
Pelosi and daughter. Um, let's see what it's saying here that that the daughter was the one filming during the attack, not a separate cameraman.
Keep digging. Where are you getting that from?
Yeah, no,
Keep
that
digging.
was just the very first thing.
Yeah, keep
Um,
digging.
they're saying I'm seeing here there wasn't a camera crew. This just Alexandra Pelosi. Um, this is a spokesman for Pelosi said there wasn't a camera crew.
Oh, okay.
Just
A spokesman. Yeah, let's read
yeah.
that.
Again, this is surface level
We need to start using
stuff.
some. We need to start digging in. You know they're going to hide this, but I've heard this in multiple places.
Yeah,
It
but
may very well be false, but I've heard this in multiple places. And
well,
if it's
the
true, it
last
needs to
thing
get out
here
there.
should give everybody a warm fuzzies as they snuggle up to go to bed tonight. Jim Jordan has referred former CIA Director John Brennan to the Justice Department for criminal prosecution, alleging Brennan knowingly made false statements during his transcribed interview before the panel in 2023.
Now, mind
And
you, this individual was appointed to the head of the CIA under the Obama administration when he was an avowed communist. You know what's really funny? James Comey allegedly was an avowed communist as well. Remember, they tried saying he
yeah,
was a Republican, right? He
yep,
came out, made some comment saying that the first non-communist he ever voted for was Jimmy Carter, right?
yeah,
So, isn't it funny? How could a former communist, uh, how could somebody like that rise to the highest intelligence level in our country, to
yep.
run the agency, right?
Oh yeah,
How could
it's by design,
yeah?
like you said, it's by design.
So
But
so he's getting caught here because this goes back to the Steele dossier, which everybody knows
yes,
was fake. And there was apparently a meeting after Donald Trump was elected the first time in the White House with Obama. This is where the plan was all put into place. They were going to use this information provided by the Hillary, it was opposition research paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign, and they were going to use this to use their friends, for lack of a better term, in the media to push this narrative. And there were a few things in order to set that in place. But there was a meeting that these individuals like Comey and Clapper and Brennan and Biden and Obama were all getting ready to do. Now, you know what that sounds very similar to, and I'm not an expert by any means, but if you are
collusion.
getting, yes, if you're getting together a group of people to push a known freaking lie, right? A known lie in order to destroy the reputation of the incoming president, that is freaking collusion in my book.
Yep.
alleged, right? So he basically Jordan is stating that he basically lied in front of Congress, saying that he didn't want the dossier used as part of the intelligence or the agency's intelligence product that they were putting out, and that is not the case, according to Jim Jordan. So, and there are several
Yeah.
other things that he was not quite honest about. Clapper has already been caught lying, allegedly, right?
Well, and it's
And
we've watched this, and even watching the hearings and stuff, you're looking at going, that is not at all what happened. And even
mhm,
if it did, how are you so? Nothing at that level is happening without his knowledge.
correct,
It just is
correct,
not. You know,
correct.
there's no rank and file peon going to be like, well, I'm just going to go hand this to this
Exactly.
committee to this court
Mhm.
for FISA warrants. Nobody's doing that without their supervisor's approval. And I'm sorry, if you're going up to get a FISA warrant against a presidential candidate,
Mhm.
that isn't handled at the middle management level. It's just not. You
And
know,
at the same time that this was all going on, I think we tend to forget that they were working with other individuals from other governments, right?
yeah,
To infiltrate the Trump campaign in order to sabotage it from within with false information, right? So
yep,
this is where uh, Papadopoulos and some of the other people were brought over under false pretenses to London and then put in a bar and gotten drunk and yeah, and then they were using these individuals from these other countries to report back to the FBI. This was all an elaborate scheme. And if you see what happened to Matt Gaetz, that was a much smaller scale, very similar with ex federal agents doing this and trying to shake down his dad, right? You're seeing the
right.
same type of operation. And, you know, how many times we have to see the same exact program or operation run before you start looking at this and saying, what in the hell were these people up to? And why the hell aren't they being brought up on charges? Right. So Brennan is one of the worst. I'm hoping he's headed the same way that some of these other guys like Comey and some of these other individuals that are being indicted. Uh, I hope he goes down that same route because this guy is dirty, in my opinion, allegedly. Right? I hate saying that, but you have to say these things. We
Yeah.
don't know things for certain here. We're using blue collar logic, like I used to
Well,
always
and
pound
that's
the
the
desk
thing
about. But
they want to come out like the New Jersey Democrat, oh, selective prosecution by Trump. No,
yeah,
if you're breaking the law, if you're going before Congress, who is there as your oversight, and you're lying,
hmm
no, you're I just can't. No, not
yeah,
allowed. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Straight to jail. It just you're up there willfully misleading the people who are there to provide oversight for you. You're lying to them about what you're doing. You're lying to the American people about what you're doing. It's all you talk about a cabal, talk about a deep state and a coup to overthrow. That's exactly what that is. What
hmm
do we just say about the Democrats by doing their pointing at you and screaming about what they're doing?
yep,
That's exactly what that is. It's nothing more, nothing less.
yep. Do we have any more
But
comments we need to get to before we go?
Freedom was talking about. He said Lynn Wood has said that Clinton, Brennan, and Clapper are dirty for years, and yeah,
Yeah,
he
for
he's
sure.
been right for years.
Look what they did to Lynn Wood. Look what they did to him. Didn't he get stripped of his law license and everything else?
Oh, there were a ton of them with Trump. There was his lawyers
Well, it was
were being
Sidney
sued
Powell
and
and
threatened
Lynn
with
Wood.
jail
Yeah,
for
yeah,
being lawyers.
yeah. So nobody found any more about this cameraman issue.
What's that?
Nobody has any more comments about the cameraman and the hammer.
No, just that they've not heard that. Freedom and
Okay.
Troy both like they had not heard that
I'm
from
going to dig
anywhere.
into
So
this. I'm going to dig into this a little more and see if I can find more information on it. I've heard it. I've heard it on other podcasts, and of course, it could all be bullshit. Could all be bullshit. But
and that's the thing with some things. I mean, the our side is just as susceptible to it as the left at times, with things getting spun out without the backup to
Mhm.
support it. But
I wouldn't say as susceptible, but we are susceptible in certain
right, yeah, you're right.
circumstances. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right. You're
So,
right. And that's why I really try whenever a story comes. If I see it in 2 or 3 places, from reputable outlets, I'm like, okay, this is legit. I try not to pull, a single story from a single outlier and
mhm.
bring it up, because I want it to be as accurate as possible.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. I want to thank everybody for taking part in this, and as I do every night, I want to thank you for being a patriot. Without patriots in this country standing up, we would have lost this country. And we can't rest on our laurels. We need to keep pushing forward to continue to save this country. We're making a lot of strides. I know everything isn't perfect and everything isn't happening as fast as we want it to happen, but things are happening in this country. And they haven't been in the past. Period. Amen. Right? I keep on using this comment tonight. Period. Amen. I'm probably overusing it, but things are happening. Thank God in this country. And thank God we have Donald Trump as president. But we need to be vigilant and we need to stay on top of things, and we cannot sit these elections out, and we can't take anything for granted. So continue to be patriots, continue to spread the word, continue to educate, right? Because we need to bring American loving patriots over to our side. They can already see that side is lost their frickin' mind. And we're making progress, but we need to keep pushing forward. So thank you. Live in freedom every day. I'll see you next week. Stu, you have anything you want to say in closing?
I do. Matt always, wants to thank the Patriots for joining, and I want to thank the Patriots, and then the extra patriotic Patriots we have. Freedom, find Zach and Troy for the support for the channel. They have been helping out every month with um, their donations, and you too can be a patriotic patriot, super patriot, and donate if you'd like. But the money goes to the channel and keeping the subscriptions going and stuff that we need for the streaming platforms and everything else. Just take some of the financial pressure off of Matt and I for that. But we appreciate everyone for joining. We appreciate Freedom, Zach, and Troy for their support. Just the community. We appreciate the community and the fact that everyone's taking time out of their day, out of their evening, to come and spend time with us, listen to what the stories that we found, our takes on things, and hopefully, leave the show a little better informed about something they may not have known was going on. And that's what we try and bring to you guys on Tuesdays. And we appreciate the opportunity, and we appreciate you joining us for that. That's all
I
I've
do
got,
want to say
Matt.
one more thing. Troy, we got to shoot next year when I come up here. I'm getting ready to head back down to the Southern Command, right? But when I come back up next spring, we've got to get together and shoot or something. So because you're too close not to do that. So that being said, live in freedom every day. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Thank you.
See you Tuesday, guys. Thank you.